my style of working is more like, it's almost like it's a bit of idea, and then when this idea pop up in my head, I just jump to do another thing completely. It really reflects my childhood when I play the toys and I never keep it back, or when when the new toys come, I just dump it away. So, but throughout this, I tell this that is a kind of patchwork. So I have one interest here, and then make another interest over there, and then gradually throughout the long-term continuous practice, I can see some connection of this patchwork. Back to the foyer work, it firstly realized not in art context. It is more or less like architectural design or scenery design for rock concert, for rock band. Because I have an idea, I collaborate a lot with some friend who is architect or lighting designer, and we have an idea of how, instead of making the fancy backdrop, we should do some kind of like a space or kind of like create a kind of transform the whole space to be a kind of like cocoon-like, to cover the whole concert hall with a kind of structure. And also that concert venue is kind of like empty hangar, so the sound, the acoustic is kind of like quite bad. So we have an idea of, I come up with this kind of idea of paper and clip, because clip, bulldog clips, you have a kind of hole which is, it is a kind of joint, and the string. So again, it's a little bit of irony on myself that in Southeast Asia we don't have a very fancy joy, or this architectural structure where you have this spider joy from German, very beautiful glass that you link or truss and everything. We only have paper and clip, so I just make a kind of like comments on this kind of thing. We use paper and clip, and we try to, what should I say? Try to make a maximum possibility of it. So this is what we see. The goal is to cover the biggest, as big a space as possible in the cheapest price. So we end up able to cover the big space with cheaper than you actually paint it. This is the thing. And when I start as a rock concert, scenery design, and then I show this work to some people, and they're kind of like an interest to move this installation toward art exhibition, and So again, it's kind of confirmed to me that the area that we always divide, which is art, which is design, is kind of like, it's blurred. And now it's been traveled from Bangkok to Sharjah to America, and then here. And what I can say here in Brisbane, because the fact that the foyer space is very, so this is like purely architectural talk. The space is kind of like, the design of space is kind of like flowing in and up. So when I come here, I just see this architecture, and then I just draw some line over it, and then make the flow when people move through this corridor and move to this foyer, and when they walk from gallery to another gallery, I make a kind of a connection line, or like just emphasize the line. But when I started to install this work, and when I see the work, and when I walk inside the city of Brisbane, I can see some kind of like coincident in kind of connection between this kind of work. Because maybe the fact that Brisbane is a kind of like tropical vernacular kind of like country, and you always use a little kind of patch and kind of thin everywhere. So this modular of paper is somehow matched with. If you walk in through the city of Brisbane, you can see that, whoa, there is some kind of like similarity, or even the cladding outside, the black cladding here. If you look from inside, from the paper pattern, and it kind of like going matched together very well. That was a kind of accident that happened. Okay, the last work, which is the kids APT, IUV, which is actually, I just come up with the idea, again back to the idea of text and languages. And also my question about language, especially through my difficulty on speaking English, and because when you speak English, you need to have you need to change tense, eat, ate, eaten, but in Thai language we don't have. Eat is always eat. So eat yesterday is tomorrow or whatever. But various form of of action in time is lack in Thai, but various form of self, of expression self, and of expression of the people that do speaking is more various. So we have maybe 10 kind of way of speaking I. So it's a kind of like lack and replacement. And I would love to explore more about this idea. So this is kind of like initial idea that I talk and discuss with the kids APT team. And then we come up with the idea of, maybe at this moment we forget about the text and language, but we try to play with how you need to justify yourself, according to you and the other people, and then the idea is come up with this photo booth, and using this triangle, which is always in the three-dimension model. Even you see some this square, but the principal element is three triangle. So it's a kind of like an attempt to make a 3D object. If you can see inside, but it's still on the flat screen of two self, two people, and then we kind of like shuffling around. So the connection between three work, as you can see, that the kids APT is still screen based, but also have a idea of photographic object that kind of like moving and checking around. And when you move to this work, which is kind of like 2.5D, it's still flat screen and playing also with photographic image together with flat screen, but also it able to become 3D. And you look at the foyer piece, which is thinking in the same manner about how 2D flat surface become 3D and how it able to occupy the space in a bigger scale. So that's the kind of like my work here for APT.